Welcome to the Matinee, the forgotten cinema.
Hi, I'm Mike Field.
And I'm Mike Butler.
And today we're talking about House on Haunted Hill. Obviously, Mike likes horror movies. That's why he did that creepy laugh, which is just, no.
It's classic. It's classic is what it is.
I mean, do you want to break down what the movie's about? Or do you think people, I would assume people know this movie.
We can do a brief synopsis.
Okay, go ahead.
Vincent Price plays a rich man who brings 5 strangers to a haunted house where they have to spend the night. And if they spend the entire night in this haunted house, they'll win $10,000. Granted, this is 1959. In today's money, that is over $80,000 in today's money. The catch is, this is a very haunted house where numerous people have died. And will they all survive the night? Will they? That's pretty much the synopsis.
This is directed by William Castle, who also did The Tingler with Vincent Price. Obviously, Vincent Price is in this movie. This movie, the notes that I found, it was a production budget of $200,000, but it made $2.5 million.
I also know that it inspired Alfred Hitchcock to make Psycho because he saw that a small budget horror movie could make a lot of money, which now every movie studio knows and goes after small budget horror movies all the time.
Blumhouse. But this actually also had, like, when it was in theaters, it had that Emergo or whatever.
Emergo,
yeah. So talk about Emergo, people who don't know what that is.
So Emergo was this interactive technology that it's like in this film, when a skeleton pops up, spoiler alert, in the audience of the theater, a skeleton would come up, lit up, and would fly over the audience. And they use this to kind of spook the audience and give this kind of immersion. But they had to cancel Emergo because kids found out about this and would sneak into the theater with BB guns, slingshots, rocks, whatever they could find, and start pelting the skeleton with these things and shooting at it. So they had to quickly abandon the Emergo technology.
Yeah, they don't do that now. They don't do a lot of that. I mean,
I can see that still happening. People would mess with the Emergo stuff.
Absolutely, absolutely. I had seen this movie, but not in its totality. And this is probably actually the first Vincent Price movie that I saw in its totality. Because, nice. Vincent Price, I've seen him. You see him in the Thriller video for Michael Jackson. But the first thing this is weird, but the first thing that struck me was that he's tall.
Oh, Vincent Price.
My
is really
God,
tall,
he's like 6'4". I mean, I'm 6'4", but he's like 6'4".
You're both freaks of nature, I know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, I guess you're the horror buff of the two of us.
Okay.
Well, you are.
I am, yes.
I'm not lying. I'm not making things up here. So I'm curious if you appreciated it more, maybe appreciated it less, and seeing all the horror that's been, you know what I mean?
Oh, I loved it. I thought it was great. I've seen a few other Vincent Price films before, but never this one.
Did you see The Tingler?
I have seen The Tingler.
Okay, yeah.
This film I thought was great. It's 1959, and you don't expect, I guess, some of the scares that come at you. Granted, it's 1959, so you watch it today, and it seems a little tame by comparison. But back then, I the severed head. There's blood dripping down on people. There's talk of all the grisly murders and how awful they were.
I'm laughing because he looks up and he's like, "That blood stain." It's like nobody cleans it. We just leave it. That's like we don't even paint over it.
I think the whole point is you can't get rid of the blood stain. It's kind of like the classic horror movie.
I got you. I'm being one of those type of people. How about the fact that it seems like the ghosts are just after Nora? Like they just are all after to get Nora.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. They are absolutely. And the old lady I thought was great.
Oh, when she shows
up, I'm like, wow, if I saw that in 1959, I'd be pooping my pants.
The second time, right? Not the first time she comes out of the black and then she comes back, but the second time she's in the room and it's just like,
yeah. She's got the contact lenses in and everything. I thought that was a great effect.
So 2 vibes I got from this movie. One with the old lady is Sam Raimi.
Oh, sure.
Kind of like all the stuff from Evil Dead and whatnot. And the second one was, did this feel like Clue to you? Like the movie Clue?
It's got a little bit of a Clue influence for sure. It's got kind of a whodunit.
Mm-hmm.
That's another thing I really like about this film is ghosts are teased and they leave you hanging on whether or not ghosts exist, even in this film. And it really is a murder mystery, even though it's wrapped inside of a horror film.
Right.
A little bit of a Scooby-Doo vibe, if you will.
Well, I love all the little coffins and like, I got everyone guns. But they didn't use them enough. It was there.
Oh, the vibe is there, yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about the production of the movie.
Yeah.
So one of the things I noticed was that this was filmed in 13 days.
I saw that, yeah.
Ridiculous. I'm just like, well, I mean,
Well, it's
one location.
One location, 5 or 6 characters.
Plus, also, this is old style Hollywood where you have a stable of actors. It's just like boom, boom, boom. You're going off. You're making.
Oh yeah,
movies.
you know who's in. Yeah,
absolutely. No, I get that. The other thing was there was actually a song for this movie, but they didn't use the song. They didn't use the lyrics. They used the orchestral as the score. So I was just like, what was that song going to be about? Like, what was that song?
But you can find the lyrics.
Yeah, no, I didn't go that far. I'm sorry. I did not go that far.
We'll have to come back and we'll have Mike sing it to you guys later on.
That's definitely not happening.
One of my favorite things while looking up the research in the film and at the end of the film that the skeleton is listed as himself.
Yeah, I know. That's a real skeleton.
It is.
It's a real dude.
Then it was cheaper to use a real skeleton than it was to make a fake skeleton.
So there was a dead guy in the movie.
Oh yeah.
Oof. I don't think you can do that now. Can you do that now?
If you have permission, maybe, or if that same skeleton is in the warehouse,
or was it a member of your family, and you were like, he wanted to be part of a movie? So.
He always wanted to be a star.
Would you recommend this movie to younger audiences now?
I would absolutely. I think the scares still work, kind of. I mean, they're a little cheesy, but it's like, wow, that is pretty gory for 1950s, and the story is still pretty good and interesting. Vincent Price is great. I think he's a little more toned down than I've usually seen him.
This is definitely before when he's just like Vincent Price and he's in like, you know what I mean? He's a caricature and stuff like that.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I love the way it's done. I love the dialogue in the movie. There's some really great creepy kind of dialogue. There's a lot to learn in this movie.
Arsenic on Rocks. I like that.
Arsenic on the Rock. Yep. And like 6 hours, 6 of us. Time enough.
Oh, that guy was
like
weird.
All the warnings and stuff, yeah, because his brother had been killed there. Pritchard, yeah.
He was weird. He was just kind of like, he's creeping.
I love Pritchard.
No, I'm just saying. He was just weird. All I kept thinking was, so they get locked in and then they show the old woman as part of the caretaker. And I'm just like, oh, so you work there now? And then they're gone. I'm like, where'd they go? It's just like, there's a lot of little things you're just kind of like, what? And then it's done. And you're just like, we're not going to go back to that? Like, yeah, it was kind of like creeping you out a little bit.
Exactly, yeah. And I think there's a lot to learn if you're a young filmmaker watching these movies to like gain experience, or you're a horror fan watching older films to see what inspired people like Sam Raimi, Alfred Hitchcock. Like, this has a lot of these staples and a lot of these things that are, like I said before, are super gory or super scary for its time that you're not going to see again until the 60s or maybe even the early 70s.
So you should definitely check this movie out, House on Haunted Hill from 1959. But also, Mike, who are we?
We are Forgotten Cinema, a podcast about forgotten films that seem to be forgotten by audiences, whether it be because a more popular movie was released at the same time or the film simply didn't catch on with audiences in its initial run. We discuss what we love about the film, maybe don't love about it, fun facts about its production, but we always also recommend you should rewatch it because you never know, you might find your own forgotten gem. We're on ForgottenCinemaPodcast.com, ForgottenEntertainment.com, or wherever you get podcasts.
Hey, if you liked us talking about House on Haunted Hill and you wanted to check it out, you can find it at bestclassicsever.com or at your Android, Apple, and Amazon Fire app stores. So thanks for hanging out with us. Check it out, House on Haunted Hill. I'm Mike Field.
I'm Mike Butler.
This is The Matinee with Forgotten Cinema, brought to you by Best Ever Channels.